12 most miserable cities in America, according to residents. The United States is a prosperous country, yet life in some of its major cities may be difficult. Destruction, lack of resources, high rates of addiction and crime, natural calamities, and a high percentage of abandoned buildings are all characteristics of these wretched urban areas. Several of these urban centers have been hit hard by natural calamities as well. Some places have a lot of crime and blight, while others have a lot of substance abuse problems. Based on poll results and census statistics, these are the 12 most miserable cities in the United States. Number 12. Brownsville, Texas. Over 31% of Brownsville's 183,000 population live below the poverty line. There are more than 35% of the population who do not have access to medical coverage. Due to its proximity to the Mexican border and its use by illegal immigrants, this city is one of the most heavily guarded in the United States. In the eyes of the inhabitants, there are 3 distinct kinds of rotorcraft constantly circling the sky. Some locals have had a hard time selling their homes because of the rising fear of a potential immigration crisis. Number 11. Mobile, Alabama. Despite the city of Mobile's best efforts, the unemployment number is still rather high and earnings are still quite low. Although the unemployment rate is reported to be 5.4%, this number does not take into consideration the large number of people who are unofficially employed but would want to be. Sadly, the work market has not improved over time. They don't pay well enough to support even a middle-class family. Compared to the rest of the country, the median household income here is much lower, at $43,521. Mobile is particularly low income. Even though the cost of living is lower in this region, many people still have trouble making ends meet. Many individuals are attempting to leave Mobile because of the dismal job market in the hopes of finding better opportunities elsewhere. The outlook is really dim at this point. No one would ever want to live in a city where both violence and earnings are on the increase. As a consequence, homeowners in the neighborhood are selling their properties to the highest bidder. Number 10. Newark, New Jersey. There are 282,000 people living in Newark. 62% of them have jobs. 28% of them are poor. It takes more than 35 minutes on average for people to go to and from work. The city's water supply has been tainted with lead, much like Flint's. There have been more than a few cases of violent crime in the city in 2013. Number 9. Huntington, West Virginia. Huntington's population has been falling over the last 5 years. There are numerous potential causes of a population reduction, and although this may not necessarily warrant alarm, it is still something to keep an eye on. A bigger percentage of Huntington's population, 21.6%, lives in poverty than in any other American city. Across American cities, the poverty rate is between 10 and 13% on average. West Virginia has a higher unemployment rate than the rest of the country. Distance from any major metropolitan area is rather high. Substance abuse, including heroin addiction, is a major issue in the Mountain State. Some residents of West Virginia fit into derogatory cliches, while others struggle to accept newcomers. Number 8. Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas has an above-average rate of violent crime, and this rate is rising. 6 incidences for every 1,000 persons is the current rate. Moving to Arkansas means you'll need to beef up your security measures at home. In order to feel safe, it's important to have a cutting-edge security system. For your own safety, you should also use basic travel sense. The region near Interstate 630 contains the majority of Little Rock's hazardous neighborhoods. Arkansas's school system has a dismal history of producing successful graduates. Teachers in the state have a hard time making ends meet due to the low pay provided by the system, which is perennially underfunded. When politics enter the classroom, it presents a new set of challenges for parents to overcome. 1 in every 5.5 people does not have enough money to live on. Number 7. Gulfport, Mississippi. When compared to other American cities, Gulfport's quality of life is above average. This ranking is the result of adding up many aspects and data points about the city in question, with the final tally then being weighted to establish an average quality of life when compared to similar cities. This prediction indicator is based on our state-of-the-art statistical algorithms and includes factors like education, criminality, cost of living, and inhabitants' general satisfaction with life. The expense of living is a major factor to think about when deciding where to relocate to. Gulfport has a cheaper cost of living than the state average and the rest of the country. Across the board, housing, energy, groceries, transportation, medicine, and other assorted products and services are cheaper than they were a decade ago, even if certain states and regions may have much greater expenses than others. Number 6. Tacoma, Washington. Of course, there are some downsides to calling Tacoma home as well. The increasing crime rate is only one of the potential downsides. Tacoma has a higher crime rate than comparable densely populated communities in Washington. Moreover, the crime rate is far greater than the national average in the United States. The most dangerous areas of any city are also the ones most likely to experience violent and property crimes. In this metropolis, you may enjoy both the summer and the winter, but unfortunately this area of Washington has far less bright days and hours of sunlight than other parts of the state. While the national average for sunny days is 205, the average for Tacoma is a much more modest 14. It is also vulnerable to earthquakes and other natural calamities typical of the Pacific Northwest. Constant worry about the big one means that everyone in the area has to have a plan in place for dealing with any unexpected catastrophe. Number 5. Modesto, California. Often listed among the most depressing cities in America, the city's high crime rate is a major issue. But alas, if you choose to stay in this area, it is a fact of life you will have to face. There is a 66% increase over the normal crime rate and a 57% increase over the national average property crime rate. The high crime rate means you should use caution when choosing a new area to live in. When compared to the rest of the country, the city's rate of violent crime is 144% higher. There aren't many options for people living in this city because of its agricultural focus. This explains why so many people in the area commute to other metropolitan areas for jobs. Unemployment is high there. Compared to the national unemployment rate of 5.9% in June 2021, it was 8.5% in this region. Neither the national nor the state of California averages are met by the average income here. The high poverty rate may be attributed to the high cost of living in California, which is much higher than the national average. There are 15.2% of the population living in poverty there. Therefore, it's safe to assume that this isn't a very prosperous metropolis. Number 4. Charleston, West Virginia. Charleston has a reputation for having pleasant weather, but you never know what to expect. There are stormy clouds and lightning to the east, while the sky is clear to the west. Keep your wits about you if you drive a convertible. The history of the Holy City is legendary. It doesn't take a professional urban planner to see that downtown's historic infrastructure is deteriorating. The city may be ancient, but it still has a lot of interesting sights to offer visitors. Prepare for unexpected floods if you plan to live in Charleston, South Carolina. If you live in an area that is not considered a flood zone, you should nevertheless take additional precautions during the wet season. The best way to protect your home from flooding is to get flood insurance and regularly check the condition of your drainage systems. Currently, there is a tax of 8.5% on clothing. In certain restaurants, the tax on alcoholic beverages might reach 15% of the bill. In addition, there is a food tax of around 10.5% at eating establishments. Therefore, if you want to have a romantic evening out, you need to be ready to pay for the extras. Number 3. Toledo, Ohio. The population of Toledo has been decreasing for many years. A total of 509,000 people call the city home as of 2022, the same number as in the previous year, 2021. As a result, the population hasn't gone down recently, but it hasn't gone up either. Unfortunately, Toledo has an increased poverty rate compared to other Ohio cities. 1 in every 3.8 city dwellers is poor, as the poverty rate in this major metropolis stands at 25.6%. A research found that 71.94% of Toledo's total population of 271,789 lived below the federal poverty level. The crime rate in Toledo has earned it an unfavorable image. The city has one of the highest crime rates in the country. According to the FBI's crime rate data, it is just 8% as safe as the average American city. The crime rate there has consistently been greater than the state and national norms. You have a 1 in 99 chance of being a victim of violent crime in Toledo, but only a 1 in 327 chance statewide in Ohio. Number 2. Gary, Indiana. Despite having 75,000 people call it home, Gary's population decreased by 6% between 2010 and 2018. Only a little more than half of the population has jobs, and 38% are classified as low income. Now, among the most depressing cities in America, Gary used to be a manufacturing hub, but those days are long gone. As whites departed Gary in search of employment, the city's black population increased to make up 84% of its current population. The city is trying out new strategies, such as selling abandoned properties for $1 each, in an effort to bring life back to the neighborhood. Number 1. Detroit, Michigan. As of 2018, there were 672,000 people living in Detroit, a decline of approximately 6% between 2010 and 2018. Although 54% of the population is in the labor force, 38% of the population is poor. The average family brings in $27,838 per year. 600,000 people departed the city between 1950 and 1980 as the industrial economy declined. Among the most hazardous cities in the United States, it has been plagued by blight due to the 43,000 vacant houses in the area. The USA is widely recognized as a global power. It has so much to offer and is home to an infinite number of interesting attractions. Though there is always something fresh to see and do in each given metropolis, the United States is replete with locations that are largely lacking in any positive characteristics. Numerous cities around the United States share a similar narrative of urban degradation due to poor socioeconomic circumstances. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.